Thank you, Justin. And thank you, Politics and Prose. Authors are so lucky that P&P is here for them. Biographers seek to capture a life. In this case, it was two lives. I wrote a dual biography of Henry and Emily Folger, a couple from Brooklyn. Henry and Emily Jordan Folger were born in the 1850s, when many American families had only two books in their library, the Bible and Shakespeare. They died childless in the 1930s. I searched in vain for someone who remembered them. The closest I got was an octogenarian who had attended the dedication of the Folger Library in 1932 on Shakespeare's birthday in presence of President and Mrs. Herbert Hoover. I beseeched her, "What do you remember?" She confided in me, "My leggings itched." What did the Folgers leave behind for a biographer? First, a handsome white marble edifice of neoclassical design, 2 blocks from the Capitol, that contains a world-class private research library, a theater where Shakespeare and other plays by award-winning directors are performed. There is a Renaissance concert series called the Folger Consort. There are curated exhibits, robust programs in poetry and education, communications, and outreach, and a cohort of dedicated docents who will show you the public spaces, while in the reading rooms, English professors and Shakespeare scholars are consulting rare and even irreplaceable literary works from 1476, which marks the introduction of printing in England, to 1714, the death of Queen Anne. The couple responsible for this seed collection, the Folgers, collected 92,000 books. It was an average of 6 books a day that arrived at his business address, which was 26 Broadway. There are 82 copies of Shakespeare's first folio, the 1623 compilation of 36 Shakespeare plays, 18 of which would have been lost because they had not been printed. Each one of these 82 copies is different in some way. The Folgers collected 204 paintings, most of them related to Shakespeare. They collected furniture, tapestries, prompt books, 250,000 playbills. This edifice, I want you to remember, is a library, a theater, a museum, and a mausoleum, because there is a bronze plaque in the reading room behind which are 2 urns and their ashes. What else did the Folgers leave behind that might give a biographer some notion of what made them tick? They left behind no daily diary, no love letters. I did find 2 bulging scrapbooks which chronicled their college years. Henry went to Amherst. Emily went to Vassar. They both graduated in 1879. Going to college for Henry and Emily was a big deal. None of their parents had been to college. They each graduated Phi Beta Kappa. Emily was president of her class at Vassar for life. Henry graduated 5th in his class. They went on to get master's degrees. Henry's master's degree was at Columbia in law. Emily returned to Vassar and got a master's degree in Shakespeare studies in a year when there were only 250 women in the country that obtained that advanced degree. They both received honorary doctorates from Amherst College, honorary doctorates in letters. One of the things that I came upon early in my research was a collection of theater ticket stubs. Luckily, the Folgers didn't throw very much away. 125 Shakespeare plays they went to. I've looked at the stubs. I know where they sat. Much more useful, however, than the ticket stubs was Emily's play diary. She wrote up each of the performances, not only the name of the play, name of the central actors, the date and location. She would write about whether, in her opinion, the actors caught the spirit of the play. She would give pronouncements about facial mobility that she observed. Was there an actor who lisped? She would listen to people sitting behind her, in front of her, to her sides, and she would include those comments in her play diary. This is an unexploited mine for someone who is interested in looking at performance of Shakespeare plays from the 1890s through 1930s. Then I came across 4 archival boxes of a very forbidding nature. You probably have some archival boxes, stiff cardboard about this size. I opened it up, and each of these 4 archival boxes was full of checks. Canceled checks. Now, a biographer today would have very bad luck looking around for 4 archival boxes of canceled checks. However, once I had gotten over the panic of figuring out that for the next 3 weeks I would be looking only at checks because there were 10,000 of them, I came to the realization that a checkbook is an autobiography. It shows where your values and your interests lie. I brought a tape measure